I think it signals to all of us kind of the end of the off season and the beginning of the season. So I know it's an exciting time of year for really all college football fans, especially players, coaches, and I know for you guys as well. It's a slow time of the year from an athletic standpoint, so we're getting ready to dive in with both feet. As a program, we're excited about the progress that we've made. We've done some pretty significant things in the 3 years. We got off to a bad start and have built on that. And really proud of our players, really proud of the guys that played for us last year and were part of the turnaround. Going from 1-11 to an 8-win season and a bowl win was pretty significant. As good as that was, I think the thing I'm probably most proud of is what our players have done in the classroom. We went from a 923 single year APR to a 997 last year. Went from dead last in the Pac-12 to the first in the Pac-12. And again, that's a real credit to the student athletes and who they are, what they stand for, their work ethic, their maturity. I was really impressed with what they've done, just the way they've handled adversity that we've had in our program. And again, it's a real tribute to them. I've told our players this. I really think in 20-something years of coaching, this is probably my favorite team. I like these guys. We're young. We're invested. We're a very unselfish group, very mature group, very focused group, very hardworking group. So I'm really excited to see what that means for us. We have a very challenging schedule, just like everybody does in the Pac-12. And this is an exceptional league. I've been around, been in the SEC, been in the Big 12. From top to bottom, I always say this, but I believe it's the best league. I think the parity in this league is so different than there is anywhere else. You just have games with teams that are perceived to be not very good against teams that are perceived to be very good that come down to 1 or 2 plays week after week after week after week. And that is very unique, and I think it's something that the Pac-12 should be very proud of. And I think it's a real tribute to the quality of coaching in the league, but also the quality of players in the league. There is so much parity and so many good football players, and a lot of it has to do with the population base. Some of those players are here from California, and there's just so many good football players that allows the teams to recruit guys. Really proud of the 2 young men that we have with us today. Devontae Wilson and Stephen Moore. Stephen is going to be our right tackle. He's going to be a 4-year starter. He's a guy that came in with Coach Tedford prior to my arrival and has been probably the most solid player in our program. He's just been a guy that's worked incredibly hard, a blue-collar guy that is exactly what you want as an offensive lineman, has really developed into being one of the leaders in our program. Really proud of him. Devontae is a junior college player here from Southern California that is much like Steven. He kind of got a second chance. Went to a junior college, went to USC originally, went to a JC, and has overcome a lot. And really proud of him and who he is and his family and what he's developed into as a person and a student athlete. He's going to have a big year for us. He's going to be a defensive end, going to be very productive. He's a name you may not know that much about right now, but he's a guy that you're certainly going to know about by the end of the season. So really proud to have those guys represent this university, really proud to be a part of this great university. We have a lot of momentum right now in our program. We've got a bowl win, and we've really built on that. I thought we finished recruiting very, very well. I was really proud of the recruiting class that we put together. I think it's going to be a very impactful class. I think there's going to be some guys this year, some freshmen that are going to come in and have an opportunity to play for us. We're going to be a young football team, but a very talented team. I think our talent level has improved dramatically. As everybody in the room is aware of, we lost a pretty decent quarterback last year with Jared Goff. He's going to be a fun guy to cover you guys that are here in Los Angeles. He's going to do a great job for them. He's going to do exactly what he did for us. He's going to continue to make the people around him better, and I think that's what a great quarterback does. We have a lot of momentum, as I said. We went into spring football, wrapped up that great recruiting class, got that 997 APR, which was very significant. We believe that Cal is a university that deserves to be one of the top universities year in, year out when it comes to APR and the way our student athletes perform in the classroom. It's something we take very seriously, something we're very dedicated to, and those are certainly great results. Had an outstanding spring, and then got off to a good start in recruiting for the 2018 class. So a lot of good things happening right now in our program, and we're excited about the direction we're going into. The thing that we have done every year is we've gotten better. You know, we went from 1 to 5 to 8, and the challenge for us is going to be to improve on 8. And that's going to be a big challenge. Obviously, we're going to have to replace our quarterback, which is going to be very important for us. The good thing is we have some very viable options, some guys that are very good players, you know, and some interesting battles will take place in fall camp. You know, we're going to need to make a relatively quick decision, figure out who the guy is going to be, build a football team around him and his strengths, and go out and win. Really proud of what we've done defensively. We've gotten a little bit better every year. We need to take that next step as well. We have more depth, we have more athleticism in our program than we've had at any point. We have competition really. When you look at our depth chart, there's more oars than any depth chart I've ever seen. And that's exactly what you want to have. You want to have guys that are fighting to keep their spots. They're getting pushed by younger players. And that's exactly what's going on with our program right now. So again, I'm really fortunate to be at Cal. Love the university. Love the student athletes that I get to work with. Love this team. And it's going to be a fun team to watch. So I'm excited about this football season.
All right, this time you can come up and gather around Coach Dykes or gather around the players in the back of the room for additional questions.
Having a chance to go spend some time down there, it's going to be really unique. I'm excited about it. You know, the good thing is, you know, we're taking a mature team down there. You know, a mature group of young people. I know they're going to be able to handle themselves the right way. It's going to be an important 6-7 days for us as we get ready for the first ball game. It's also part of our training, the way the schedule is. So it's going to be important that you know, the guys get work done, but at the same time we're going to allow them to enjoy the unique opportunity they have. So, you know, there's some interesting, challenging travel things involved. A 14.5-hour flight over. The way we're going to handle that, trying to get the guys acclimated to it is really important. We've got a good plan. We've invested a lot of time and resources into making sure that we prepare the right way. But it's going to be a great trip for us, and we're excited about it. No people starting.
So the plan is all set up already in terms of travel.
Yeah. Plan. We've been working on this really since January. So the first step for us was getting passports. You know, very few of our players have passports. So you can imagine trying to get passports for 150 kids. So that was a challenge in itself. I've got to give our staff credit for getting that done. You know, everybody's ready to travel and got it all done, and so that in itself was a big duty. And then, you know, just kind of all the loose ends. And it's when you're taking 300 people to Australia to go participate in the game, there's a lot of moving parts. And so I think we've done a really good job of preparing. We've got a great plan for how we're going to travel with our players, what we're going to do on the airplane, all the little things that we can do to try to make the travel as easy as possible.
Have you consulted with any other coaches, pro or college?
We've talked to everybody. Yeah, we've talked to a lot of other coaches, especially some NFL guys that have taken teams to Europe. We've talked to everybody. Strength and conditioning coaches have spent a lot of time talking to different people and how they've handled it. We're going to use some compression things to try to make it easier on their legs and the recovery process. We've got a great plan in terms of getting our guys up and walking around the airplane and exercising. So we'll go straight from landing on Tuesday morning to practice and try to get them acclimated as quickly as we can and ready to play on Saturday.
Sonny, given what's going on with your strength coach, to see your players come out like they did, to see the athletic director come out like he did and stand behind Damon, who, you know, recently you had Donovan Frazier come out and say he's one of the reasons we've gone from 111 to 85.
I think anybody that knows anything about our program sees the positive impact he's had on our program. And, the people that are around our program understand how important he is and the contributions he's made to get us where we want to go.
In terms of free time or activities in Australia, how's that compare to, say, a normal game week versus a bowl game?
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different. Yeah, so what we'll try to do is practice and prepare in the morning and give our guys the afternoon to try to see some sights and experience part of Australia. We're traveling a long way. It's a great opportunity for our players to have a great trip and a very memorable trip. So we've got to do a good job of balancing preparation and at the same time allowing them to enjoy it. Because the worst thing we can do is take them over there and then not teach them anything. We're in the teaching business as coaches, and it's a unique opportunity for our players to have a once in a lifetime experience. And so we're going to try to give them every opportunity they can to see the country, to have a chance to interact with the people, and to create a lasting memory.
Did you have any concerns when they first approached you about this, about taking a regular season game?
Yeah,
I bet.
The big thing for us was just how it was going to fall in our schedule. I thought it was really important for our players to come back and have an open week after the trip. Fortunately, we were able to make it work. So we're going to play early. And that was a big part of it, was getting a waiver by the NCAA to be able to play the game early, so that we could have an open week the next week to get our players, back in class, and get those guys focused on academics, and give them a chance to rest up and prepare for a road game against the San Diego State team, who's probably going to be on an 11-game win streak when we go play those guys. So we're going to have to play very, very well, and that'll be a big week for us.
Coach, are you still planning to keep the same type of coaching style with the talent play that you have the last couple of years, or is there something different you're working on this season?
Yeah, we've what you try to do as a coach is figure out what your strengths are. That's what we do every single year. We sit down as a staff and say, okay, who are the best players in our team? How can we allow those guys to become impactful? What can we do to allow them to use their skills? Because they all have something that's unique. They all have different strengths and different weaknesses. And how can we build our offense around our quarterback and what he's capable of doing? And then same thing at the wide receiver position, same thing with the offensive line. What does our offensive line allow us to do? What kind of team can we be with those guys up front? And that's going to be the strength of our football teams, our offensive line, no question about it. We've got a lot of experience. We've got guys that really like the toughness. We have a great culture in our program. That's the thing that I'm most proud of, is just the culture that we have, the work ethic, the unselfishness, the dedication to each other that our guys have. I think is what makes this team special. And so anyway, that's part of the process, going through that and figuring out who's going to be our best pass rusher. How can we get our best pass rusher on their worst pass protector? All the little things that we do from scheme-wise to create good matchups.
Thank you. Sonny, what is the situation with Griffin Pyatt? Is he taking a medical?
Yeah. Griffin kind of got to the point where he just thought he had to move on. And so it's a big loss for us. And Griffin's a really good football player and a guy that has meant a lot to our program. Just incredibly mature. Just the injury just wasn't responding the way that he wanted it to. He was having some issues, and so medically just didn't feel like he was.
He had surgery this offseason also, right? A second surgery?
Yeah.
To the knee?
Yeah.
What about Demario Drew? What's his situation?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're not going to have him early, in hopes that we might have him late at some point, but chances are we're probably not going to have him all the season.
You're probably not going to have him.
Probably not going to have him.
What about Davis Webb? What are the things that have impressed you the most about him? I like you're probably aware, most people from the outside are expecting him to be your starter.
Yeah, the thing that's really honestly been most impressive about Davis has just been his work ethic. His work ethic. Since he got on campus, he comes to work 7 a.m. and leaves at 10 p.m. That's what he does every day. He shows up to our office 7 a.m. sits in there with Coach Todd, wants to watch film, goes in the virtual reality room, and does all these different things that he can do, wants to do on his own to make himself better. And so, he's always around asking us questions. He's always trying to find receivers to throw with. He's always doing extra workouts. I think what's been most impressive for everybody, his teammates, coaches, everybody, is just his work ethic. He just wants to work. It's incredibly important to him. He's very passionate. He comes from a culture at Texas Tech. I was part of that culture being built in 2000 when Mike Leach was the head coach. And basically the work ethic of the quarterbacks. And that culture still exists today, where those guys that started with Cliff Kingsbury in 2000. Those guys work harder than anybody else in the program. Davis is part of that. He understands that. He appreciates it. He loves the ball. He sees this as an opportunity to accomplish his goals. So his work ethic's been unparalleled, really.
Your timetable is obviously moved up because of the Australia game. At what point do you think you're going to name a quarterback?
You know, we're hoping it happens quickly. We're hoping it's obvious to all of us quickly. But you know, we'll decide when we think it's the best time to decide. You know, it could be 5 practices in, it could be a weekend, it could be 2 weeks in. You know, I think the sooner the better for us. But it's a big decision. It's a decision that you want to let play out. It's an important decision, so that you have to make sure you have enough credible evidence to base your decision.
Where is the quarterback competition going into camp? Is there somebody that's pulled ahead at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I think coming out of spring football, we felt like Chase Forrest and Ross Bowers were kind of neck and neck for that spot. They both did some good things, you know, over the spring, and it was a little bit of a new system for them, so there were some growing pains, but you know, they got better and got more comfortable as we went into the spring game, especially. I thought they all performed well in the spring game. You know, we'll get Victor Viramontes, a true freshman, get him in the mix as well. He's on campus right now doing Summer Bridge and learning, and he's got a unique skill set. And obviously we added Davis. So, you know, between those 4 guys, I'm confident that we'll have a good quarterback. And our quarterbacks have always performed well, and I don't expect anything different this year.
Have you been in favor of the graduate transfer rule? I mean,
you know, it's overall, you know, not really. I think it's good for the kids, which I think is most important. So I'm certainly not in favor of it from that standpoint. But you know, I think, like most issues in college sports, and particularly college football, there's some positives and some negatives about it. You know, I think it's something we haven't done. But this was a unique situation. I don't think any of us, we didn't leave spring football saying we got to go find a quarterback. You know, we didn't feel that way at all. We felt like we had 2 good, solid quarterbacks that were ready. But this was a unique situation based on his relationship with Jake, you know, his relationship with me, just, and more importantly, his experience in this system, you know, being in Texas Tech, which is a very similar system. And so, you know, it was a unique opportunity, and we felt like it was something we needed to look into. And as we got to know Davis, we were just impressed with his maturity and work ethic and how committed he was to joining a team and you know, have a role in the team, whether that's the 13 quarterback. He wants to be the best 13 quarterback in his country. He's going to be the 13 guy, or whether that's going to start. So that's just his mentality, and I think that's what made this a unique and different situation.
you've been on the other side of the coin with Brendan Scarlett and Michael Barton was a graduate transfer. Have you had others? I don't recall.
Yeah. What's that? Hardy? Hardy's doing that. Senator Dozier as well. You know, we face a little bit different situation being at Cal in terms of being able to get admitted into graduate school. You know, the guys who graduate have to be able to get admitted into a graduate program at Cal, and that's not an easy thing to do. So, there's a high percentage of our players that graduate that can't get into a program. And so, that's going to be something that's going to happen from time to time.
Is that something you'd like to work with the university on?
Yeah, it's something that I think we're certainly aware of. It's something that I know Mike Williams is trying to find us a solution. Because our role is to graduate student athletes. So the last thing that we want to do is not do that. And we want to give them opportunities once they graduate to go to one of the elite graduate schools in the country. And so, it's a tough situation. I don't know if there's an easy answer for it right now, but there's certainly on everybody's radar, and certainly something that we're all working towards.
What are your thoughts on kind of the perceived hostility on the academic side towards the athletic side? Vic and Weary came out and had a pretty powerful tweet about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just trying to figure out ways to do well academically and to do well on the football field, and that's what we're all about. And as I said earlier, I think the more that people get to know our program and our players within our program, I think the more they're going to be proud of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And so, I think the important thing is for people to understand, come get around our program. That's why we have open practices. That's why we have been really transparent, is so that we can answer a lot of these questions. And the problem sometimes occurs that people just don't know. And I think the more that people know about us as coaches, about more importantly our players, then the more they're going to be receptive to working with.
Do you get the sense that there is a divide between the academic side and?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's like anything else. I mean, I think sometimes things get blown out of proportion, and but we're certainly not unique to that. I mean, I think that's a situation that occurs on many college campuses across the country. It's just something that is, again, the thing I'm proud of is that we have a track record of keeping our players eligible and graduating. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at what we've been able to do since I've been there in terms of recruiting junior college players. Every one of our junior college players that we've signed, except for one, is graduated. And the one that hasn't graduated is in the NFL camp. And so all those kids that we brought in, all of them have graduated. And so we're doing things the right way. And we've got to do a better job of getting that message out to the people that need to understand it. And so a lot of that's on us.
Sonny,
Well, I think more than anything else, you've got to adjust. That's what happens sometimes. Is you go someplace and you think it's going to be a certain way, and it's not. We had to do the same thing when I went to Louisiana Tech. It was a lot different situation than I thought it was going to be, and Cal's been that way. And so, you have to figure out what your strengths are, and you have to build around your strengths. You have to understand your weaknesses and address those weaknesses, and figure out a way to make it work. I believe having a successful football program is all about finding a niche, and I think we have found our niche. And when it comes to going out and recruiting kids, we can recruit academically oriented kids as well as anybody in the country. If you're a kid across the country, anywhere in the United States that's serious about academics, you're going to look at Cal. You're going to consider this university. And we're starting to get on those kids' radar and starting to recruit them. And they also happen to be a lot of really, really good football players in that group as well.
Sonny, you've lost your top 6 receivers. How confident are you in the replacements? And what can you tell us about kids like Milky Stovall?
Yeah, Milky Stovall had a great spring. I mean, we lost a lot of guys that made a lot of plays for us. But then we had some guys step in and pick up where they left off. This is a different group. This group will be built much differently. We haven't had a lot of catch and run guys that can catch a screen pass and turn it into a big play. And I think this group will be a little bit more inclined to do that. We have to develop some of the guys that we've been able to develop. In other words, guys like Bryce Treggs who can run through the middle of the speed and make plays. Guys like Kenny Lawler that had a big catching radius, and guys that were incredibly consistent like Steven Anderson and Darius Powell, and guys that made big plays like Trevor Davis. I mean, they're all tough to replace because they did that for us for a long time. But the group that we have is really, really talented. They're really talented, different skill set, but we're not quite sure what they can do when the lights come on. We think it's going to be very good, but they still have to do it on Saturdays.
Coach, you go from Luke Rubens or splitting time with Jared Goff as a freshman, taking some reps from him, and then last year making a transition to safety, 12 tackles against Arizona State, it's an interception in the bowl game. Is that role solidified?
Yeah, Luke's going to play safety for us. Yeah, he went through spring football, wanted to take another turn at quarterback, went through spring and just felt like he could contribute more at safety. And you got to love a kid that does that. I mean, I can't say enough positive things about Luke and what he means to our program. Just his unselfishness. Came in and played as a true freshman quarterback, and not many guys move to safety after they play some as a true freshman at that position. He's done everything we've asked him to do and then some. He just wants to help us win. He wants to help his teammates, and again, he's the culture that we want in our program. A guy that works incredibly hard and a guy that's incredibly unselfish, and all he wants is for us to be successful. And whatever he can do to help, he's going to do it. And those are the kind of guys that you want to have in your program.
Would you bring him in as a cameo like he used to?
No, I don't think so. No, he's going to be a full-time safety.
I was going to say, you mentioned Jared in your opening remarks. I apologize if you've been asked about him since, but for people here in LA, maybe not college football fans that haven't gotten a chance to see him, what would you tell the Rams fan here in LA about Jared and what he's going to bring to
Well, I can tell you this. He's going to work harder than anybody in the organization.
When you say work harder, what do you mean by that?
He's a consummate professional. He's 21 years old, but he was a professional for us at 18. And what I mean by that is just his approach. His maturity and his approach, and he's going to give it everything he has every day. Now, he's incredibly talented. He can make the throws. He's got a very unique skill set. He maneuvers in the pocket, creates throwing lanes better than any quarterback I've ever seen, really at any level. He's very unique in that regard. I think that's why he was the first pick in the draft. It's because of that skill set. You know, he's a highly intelligent guy. He's somebody that's going to handle success the same way he handles failure. He's going to, you know, continue to work hard every single day. His ceiling is very, very high. You know, and the fact that he's 21 years old, he hasn't gotten close to reaching his ceiling yet. And I think the Rams got him a special player, somebody they can build around for many years to come.
At such a young age, you think he'll be able to command the huddle, command a locker with older guys?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think that's going to be a process. I mean, you don't walk in there from day one and do it, but it's certainly going to be a process, and it's certainly a process that he's going to be able to maneuver through, you know, successfully, I think.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.